Am I the a-hole for not making any efforts to get my kids to like my mother's boyfriend? My 36M father passed away when I was 20, and my mother didn't cope well. She got better with time, but she didn't attempt to pursue another relationship until 15 years later. She has been dating Jim for 2 years. I don't hate Jim, but I don't like him either. He drinks a lot. My mother has had to cancel on us several times because he was drunk, has made several offensive jokes to my brother, 43M, that I didn't appreciate, and is overall a pretty unpleasant person to be around. Still, he seems to genuinely love my mother and makes her happy, so my brother and I don't interfere. One problem I do have with the relationship is that my mother has been trying to get my children, 9M and 5F, to form a grandparent bond with Jim. He's also been trying to take on a grandfather role, which neither me nor my wife, 34F, want for the kids. They don't try to push boundaries too much, but we've had some minor arguments in the past. Anyway, my daughter had her first ever dance recital last December. There was a limit of 4 guests per child. The kids usually ask us to invite one of their grandparents to events like this, but my mother was out of town, I didn't even ask her, and my in-laws were busy. Instead, my daughter invited my brother to join me, my wife and our son. My mother and Jim came to visit us during the weekend, and she saw pictures from the recital for the first time in a photo album. She asked why my brother was there and not her, and I reminded her she was traveling at the time. She said, well, Jim was in town. I'll be honest, we didn't even think of inviting Jim back in December, and neither did my kids. I told my mother that it was my daughter who chose to invite her uncle, and we respected that. Then Jim turned to my daughter and told her that she could invite him next time grandma wasn't around. My wife chimed in and said she could invite whoever she wanted. After they left, my mother called me. She said she was upset that we weren't making any efforts to welcome Jim into the family, and we were depriving our children of a wonderful grandfather. I told her that we would never force our children to like him or spend time with him if they didn't want to, and that wasn't up for discussion. We ended up having an argument over this, before I hung up on her. I spoke with a few family members yesterday who think I'm being too harsh on Jim, so am I the a-hole?